Joining me now is Corporate Vice President of Azure AI, John Montgomery. Hi, John.
Hi.
I'm really glad that you're here.
I'm really glad to be here.
There's a few things going on in your space right now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. One of these days, I think artificial intelligence is going to be big. Little thing called Copilot. You may have heard of
Little
it.
thing. You know, somebody asked earlier, like, what's your favorite Copilot? I'm like, but we are the Copilot company. They're all my favorites.
Exactly. Like, how can you pick a favorite among your children?
You can't, and you shouldn't, right?
No.
You should use them all. That's what we think. But seriously, I know that people can get overwhelmed by how many announcements a company like we make. I think there are, what do we say, 138 in the Book of News?
Yep.
Which is crazy. The Book of News, very important. If you haven't checked that out already, make sure you do. But for the space that you're in and what you're thinking about, what are some of the most important things you don't want people to miss?
I feel like of the 138, like my team, Azure AI, created about 100 of them.
Yes.
And so it's incredible to be here. And again, it's kind of like pick the favorite among my children. That's difficult.
Right.
There are probably 6 that I would call out. So I would have loved to have had 1. It's probably going to be about 6.
Yeah, that's 5.
The first one, AI Studio, going into preview today. That's a huge moment for the team, and I think it's a huge moment for generative AI. We're bringing together these large language models with the tooling around it, the responsible safety tools that we have. Like bringing all that together. That's a huge announcement for us. The general availability of the vector hybrid search that we have in Azure AI Search. It turns out like garbage in, garbage out with data into these things. If you don't have good data coming in, they're not going to give you good results. The work we've been doing to bring that vector support on and to combine it with the other search techniques, the semantic search, the ranker that we have, it's technology that we share with Bing. Like that really improves the quality of the results. A huge thing for us has been responsible AI. I mean, Microsoft has led with responsible AI for a long time.
Yes.
I think what maybe a lot of people don't know is it's not just a conversation, it's not just regulation, and it's not just nice words on a slide like fairness or privacy. It's actually engineering practices and it's tools. And here at the event, we're talking a lot about the evaluation tools we have, and a lot about Azure Content Safety, which is a tool that can not only filter inputs and outputs to make sure there's no hate speech, to make sure there's no pornography, but now it can protect against jailbreaking, and it can protect against copyright, which is really important because we also extended what we used to call the Copilot copyright commitment over to cover applications built using Azure OpenAI.
And I know you have 2 more, but I want to pause you there just for 1 second because I hope that what people are really tuning in on what you said about the safety layer and about responsible AI. I always say that these things that we talk about, helping organizations around the world and people to achieve more, responsible AI, these aren't just words on a slide. I've literally said that. But what you're talking about is actually building those capabilities into our technology itself. So I hope everybody's understanding that because this is a really hot topic out in the world right now. Responsible AI, not being nervous about it, and knowing that it is going to be used in ways that increase inclusivity and reduce bias, not the other way around.
Really well said, and I think it is a combination of having the right principles, the right processes, and the right tools that you can actually integrate. And we do bring all of these together. We bring them together on the Copilots we create. The Azure Content Safety system is actually what we build our own Copilots with.
Right.
So it's that same conversation about the same stuff we use is the stuff that we offer you to build yours around. It's huge to kind of make sure that you can, in fact, address what is a very real challenge with generative AI around safety.
Yes, absolutely. And, now that we're offering all of this, I feel like we're all learning together in this moment, in this dawn of the era of AI, which, by the way, I didn't ever think I'd actually sit here and say with a straight face, we're not in some science fiction novel. This is all happening today. This isn't also a situation when we're announcing things that are available in 6 months or a year or 2 years. These things are general availability today.
Yep.
With those kinds of capabilities, what are you seeing our customers do with those capabilities?
There's so many use cases we see. They kind of group into maybe 4 or 5 different buckets. You see everything from the very simple question and answering system. You feed some data into the model and you can ask questions and it can reason over your question and synthesize responses. And we have customers who've done things like that. HSBC has done that with the Indian tax code. Lots and lots of stuff going on there. A couple of the great examples I want to point to that you can do with this. The first one I would say is what Siemens has done. They're using it to make their factory floor more productive. When somebody sees something, it's a multinational company, multiple languages. They have a ticketing system. You want to open a ticket, report a problem. They've built a generative AI system where people can speak and write in their natural language, and that goes in and it generates a ticket in the common language, and they can resolve it more quickly.
Wow.
Another really good example, I would say, is Instacart. They've done something amazing. They're using GPT-4 Turbo with Vision, which is a multimodal model. And what they're enabling people to do is, for example, to take a picture of their shopping list, a handwritten shopping list, and to pull it into Instacart and to turn it into a real shopping list.
I need that.
Yep.
I need that just in my own life. But these are very practical examples of how, when we think about how this is going to become normal in our day-to-day life, right? I mean, I think that being able to take that picture literally of the back of the napkin and have it turn into something is going to be very, very common as we go forward. But you mentioned something else I want to drill into for the audience. How do customers, and what recommendations do you have about choosing different models? There's so many models that are available. I know there's a lot of conversation about that. What's your thinking and insight on that?
Yeah, it's one of the first questions I get from customers, like which model do I start with? The general guidance we say is you start with the most capable model, GPT-4, GPT-4 Turbo, and then you find out the art of the possible, and then you optimize from there. And so within Azure AI, we now support GPT-4 Turbo, the latest model coming out of OpenAI. But today we also made a series of announcements where we're bringing in other models. We now operate the 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗲𝗀𝗲 models. As a service. We partnered with companies like 𝗦𝗽𝗲 and Mistral and Jace to bring their models in. So we're actually making the problem a little worse, giving more choice. And one of the things we're doing to help with that is creating the tooling that enables people to evaluate one model against another, and to get to a place where they can actually say, this model does really well on my stuff. And so within Azure AI Studio, there's a whole benchmarking subsystem, and there's a set of tools, also generally available today, called Prompt Flow, that makes it very easy to build these complex orchestrations of models and APIs, so that you can, in fact, switch models out to do the job that they're best at.
Yeah, that's fantastic because, people have been accusing us of bringing lots of choices to the table for a long time, but I actually think that's great for our customers because, number one, it allows them to choose whatever they want, but do so within the safety and security of knowing they're in a Microsoft trusted environment and more. But also, it's up to them to choose what's important for them in their businesses. So how do you recommend that customers should put safe AI practices into place? They're using Azure AI Studio for that. How does a customer go from slogan to operations when it comes to safe AI?
Yeah, and so kind of picking up that earlier thread about responsible AI, it is a very real challenge customers face. And some of the things I just mentioned, so those evaluation tools, Prompt Flow, they make it very easy for the teams building these co-pilots to be able to evaluate the behaviors of the models using test data and to see the outputs of that so that they can actually identify potential issues in the structure of the model or the data. There's responsible AI tooling within AI Studio to enable the data scientists to be able to do the right thing. And then there's obviously, again, Azure AI Content Safety, which kind of provides this input and output filtering technology to help protect it. So, in terms of how to approach it, I would say there's the tooling portion, and then the companies need some of their own set of principles, and they can happily borrow ours and some set of standardization for process for how you actually make sure that these systems are built according to what each company thinks is the right thing to do.
Right, exactly. And how should people get started with all this fantastic stuff?
Great question. I would point them directly to go to ai.azure.com and get started and build something today.
Absolutely. Build something like that. That belongs on like a t-shirt someplace, right? Build something, do better. Let's just do this together also. We're really learning. And thank you so much for everything that your team is doing, but also for giving us your time today. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much. It was great to be here.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us out there. And if you'd like to learn more, as John mentioned, build with Azure AI Studios at ai.azure.com.